Hey there everyone, I'm meteorologist Cassie Knoll and this is your 10 weather impact recap for the week. Let's start with a look at some of the top weather stories from around the country. In California, last week marked 1 year since the Palisades fires swept through parts of Los Angeles County. Dozens of people died in those fires, entire neighborhoods were burned to the ground, and the flames forced tens of thousands of people to leave their homes. Many schools were destroyed in the fire, and many teachers lost their jobs. Rena Nakano spoke with a woman known as the Disney teacher, who explains how she's rebuilding her life.
Welcome to TK Land. No tickets or annual pass required. Just be a student in Ms. Elizabeth Lamb's transitional kindergarten class.
This classroom represents a lot of love.
We first met Lamb a few days after the fire destroyed her beloved Disneyland-themed classroom at Palisades Elementary. She was setting up her new temporary space at Brentwood Science Magnet School.
It was the entire community that helped me rebuild.
Friends, fellow Disney fans, and even strangers sent donations to help bring back a sense of normalcy. But since the fire, she's adjusted her lessons to include more hands-on building projects.
A lot of therapy type activities because they're able to draw out their feelings.
Feelings her 4- and 5-year-olds don't quite know how to express yet. But with these building activities, she says you can see their confidence start to shine through. After school, Lamb and I drove up to the former Palisades Elementary site. This was her second time seeing it since the fire.
This was my classroom.
She recalls the exact blueprint of her now invisible classroom as if it still stands.
That corner over here is where I would keep my technology table, and that's where I had all of my pencil cases.
The pencil cases were a Minnie Mouse cookie jar given by her late mom and a Mickey mug gifted from a former student.
It's a Mickey Mouse pot of some sort.
Things I was able to retrieve from the rubble after using my media credential to drive into the fire zone.
This is the piece where I was like, I know I'm in the right place.
You are.
They ended up being the only things any teacher here was able to save before demolition. But Lamb tells me she couldn't bring herself to clean them until just recently.
It was emotional because I feel like part of washing it off was washing off some of the memories.
Because she lives 2 hours away, Lamb says she spends more time in her classroom than her own home. That's why TK Land is where she put most of her favorite things, including her Disney collection, her mother's teaching materials, her son's treasure box, now gone. That's what the ceramics represent.
I'm not really sure yet how I'll put it together. I think it needs some love and some clay.
Piece by piece, these ceramics will come together. So will the school, and eventually the whole town.
She says recovery doesn't happen overnight and that healing is a process. But little by little, she's finding hope.
You can start to see things coming back in a different way. It's never going to be the same, but there are smiles to be found. They're going to be okay.
In Pacific Palisades, I'm Rena Nakano, CBS LA.
After a slow start to the season, a parade of storms brought near record snowfall to parts of the Sierra Nevada mountains of California at the end of December and beginning of January. That snow has helped to kickstart the economy for one town that depends on wintry weather to keep its businesses alive. Madison Keevy has the story.
It's cold but clear in Truckee on Friday night. Waiting inside one of the many local businesses, a warm welcome.
I've been working here, I guess, 2.5 years.
That's multiple winters at Tahoe Mountain Life. This year, things may have started slow, but with snow, picked up.
Once we got those storms during Christmas, we definitely got a lot more people in here, which is awesome.
The store sits right off of downtown Truckee. Business is good when it's snowing, but add some sunshine and that's when business booms.
Like you'll notice a difference even from like 1 hour to the next. If it's snowing 1 hour and sunny the next, there's way more people when it's sunny.
The same is true across town at coffee bars. Readying the shop for what's expected to be another busy weekend.
0 to 100 probably is the best way of describing it. Is you go from just your regulars, the people you know by name, to, oh, hi, there's 100 people who I don't know any of you, but cool, you're here, let's go.
That's how our chief meteorologist, Nick Marianos, describes the snowpack comeback. A historic low before those holiday storms, from 0 to 100% of average in just 2 weeks.
And because of the steady stream of moisture from the Pacific Ocean over the past few months, the entire state of California is drought-free for the first time in 25 years. This is a really big deal. Kayla Moeller spoke with a climatologist to put this news into perspective.
This is the first time we've seen that since December of 2000. So it's been quite a while since there's been no D0 abnormally dry or worse being depicted in the state.
This week's U.S. Drought Monitor map is an unusual sight to see as California shows no drought conditions, while much of the rest of the country is experiencing abnormally dry or drought conditions.
This water year, which started October 1, we got off to a great start. And we've seen regular storms work their way through over the months. And in the first quarter of the water year, as we rounded into the new calendar year, we're at about 150% of average on precipitation.
Our First Alert weather team says this 2025 to 2026 season is considered to be a La Nina year. And for California, that usually means drier conditions.
But this year is an anomaly. We are seeing the storms form right off the coast of California. So they're coming right in, inundating the state from north to south. So we've had this heavy, steady rain that has continued.
That steady rain has also helped refill California's reservoirs, with 14 of the 17 major ones at 70% or more capacity. But that doesn't mean these conditions are here to stay. Climatologists say we're in a wait-and-see period to see how the rest of winter goes and what things will look like come fire season.
That back and forth is something California is well accustomed to. But we'll see then as we get into February and March when they start their growth cycle, if there's continued moisture to allow for that. And then fire season begins when those grasses begin to dry out.
The next week or so is supposed to be fairly dry in the state, warm as well. So again, as quickly as we've seen some of these dry situations get tampered down and relieved, they could be developing again.
And check out this scary video out of Colorado. A group of skiers were caught in an avalanche over the weekend at Rocky Mountain National Park. Officials say the group triggered this slide in a narrow chute, injuring one of the skiers. The skiers shared their video with the Colorado Avalanche Information Center in the hopes that it would help educate others about the dangers of avalanches. Amanda Gilbert has the story.
Video above Lake Hiaha in Rocky Mountain National Park is getting national attention.
It shows how easy it is to trigger, a small avalanche.
Oh my God. Brian Lazar with the Colorado Avalanche Information Center says a group of skiers and splitboarders triggered a wind slab avalanche Saturday while skiing a steep chute.
So they kind of knew what they were getting into and just made, a small error in how they were going to manage that terrain. But it does illustrate that, small errors can lead to potentially bad outcomes.
One person caught in the slide grabbed a tree, dislocated his shoulder, and was briefly buried before ending up on the surface.
He was being swept down the slope into the trees. And so, him getting his feet downhill and his board in front of him is less vulnerable than if you were, head first, for example.
Technical specialist Dale Atkins with Alpine Rescue Team says it's been a slow start to winter.
This winter's been pretty quiet, and we haven't had any calls for skiers or snowboarders. Don't be fooled by the conditions.
It's still important to be careful in the backcountry.
Shallow snow means weak snow, and when you add new snow on top of weak snow, it also means avalanches.
The other two people in this video were not injured, and everyone made it out safely. And it is so nice out today, but the Colorado Avalanche Center says if you do plan on heading to the backcountry, no matter what the weather is, make sure you check online for their avalanche forecast. And they say please bring the safety gear you need, at least bring a shovel, a probe, and transceiver. Also know how to use those things.
And another avalanche caught on camera last week, this time in Alaska. Officials in Juneau urged some residents to evacuate and others to be ready to leave due to the avalanche threat. The area received record snowfall in December, especially in the week between Christmas and New Year's. Juneau had almost 7 feet of snow last month, breaking the previous record for the month of December by more than 2 feet. Now, heavy rain has been falling on that historic snowpack, causing avalanches and flooding in the town. Now to the Midwest. While many Minnesotans aren't fond of cold weather, the chilly temps have been exactly what crews with the State Fair have needed to build their famous ice castle. Sammy Solina has more about this magical experience.
A lot of us aren't too fond of this slushy, icy weather, but there is a place where the ice is embraced, the Minnesota Ice Castles.
Look at that water spurting out. This is the earliest we've ever opened in Minnesota. Historically, our best date ever was New Year's Eve, and so we beat that by almost a full week.
This is the second year the state fair has hosted the ice castles. Crews started building in October.
And then as soon as it gets cold, this year's a little before Thanksgiving, we were able to turn water on, start making ice, and then just over a month later, it was ready to go. It's 10,000 hand-placed icicles every day to be able to get what we have here.
There's slides, snow tubing, ice caves, snow caves, and arches.
This is hard snow.
We thought the kids would enjoy it. It's really awesome. It looks really fun, and it's warm out.
Days like this where it's kind of overcast, the ice is just really blue and beautiful, and it's warm enough to where you can be here for a long time.
Tickets range from $13 to $26 online, depending on timing and age. Staff hopes they can keep the castles open until mid to late February. It's open at night, too, for a different kind of magical experience.
Taking a break from wintry stories, Oklahoma, already known for its place in Tornado Alley, now has a new weather distinction. It is now the lightning capital of the United States and has the highest concentration of strikes in the country. The new ranking bumps Florida off the top spot in lightning strike density. A group that monitors lightning strikes, Advanced Environmental Monitoring, shared their 2025 lightning report and says the Great Plains region is becoming more active with intense storms. The states behind Oklahoma in lightning density are Florida, Louisiana, and Kansas. And speaking of Florida, a new living seawall has been installed in Miami shores, replacing an aging structure in one of South Florida's seaside communities. Steve Litz reports from the Sunshine State.
In Miami Shores, a specialized living seawall is being installed to reverse the impacts of climate change and sea level rise. Carol Ennis is a longtime Shores resident and also chairwoman of the Sustainability and Resilience Committee.
It's so much better environmentally. It will help build back our lack of marine life.
The panels are built here in South Florida on 3D printers. Then they're put on trucks, they're brought over here to Miami Shores, and then installed in Biscayne Bay. The ribbing features, those are the contours on the wall, mimic the roots of mangrove trees, and then create spaces and crannies for oysters, fish, coral, and other marine life to attach and thrive.
For years, we used gray concrete to push the bay back, and this is a reversal in that. We're using modern technology, the living seawall, to invite the ecosystem back to Miami Shores.
I gotta imagine by the end of next year, we're going to have fish colonies, little coral colonies, all kinds of seagrasses, oysters attaching to the wall.
Flat, smooth seawalls aren't the friendliest environments for marine life to thrive. This wall will be better and 2 feet taller, serving an additional purpose.
This one will actually deter and minimize the storm surge better than a regular one. So even for storm surge, it's beneficial.
Back here in Tennessee, the state has announced that it is investing millions of dollars in 2 Cocke County businesses hurt by Hurricane Helene. Eastern Plating and American Appliance have invested millions of their own dollars in recovery efforts. Now, leaders are pushing to keep those companies and hundreds of jobs in East Tennessee. Ellis Rold explains the new incentive to stay in the volunteer state.
It's a historic day for Cocke County as the state announces they are investing millions of dollars, hoping to retain hundreds of jobs right here at 2 plants who were badly damaged in the storms during Hurricane Helene. They say these jobs will be critical to economic development throughout Cocke County. The state is stepping in, hoping to help businesses who stepped up during the storm. Eastern Plating and American Appliance have invested millions of their own dollars to stay open and employ workers after Helene. Now, Tennessee is giving them $4 million to retain more than 300 jobs. Cocke County Mayor Rob Mathis says his office has worked tirelessly since the floods, and this is just another piece of that puzzle.
This is not an ending. This is a beginning. We're going to have many more days like this going forward because we're pushing hard. We have a lot of irons in the fire.
State leaders know how much these grants can help a community.
Working in rural Tennessee is what we see as the most impactful because it really does change a community pretty drastically when you see, even if it's a 20-job project. You see the impact it has at the local level.
The money will go towards both retaining jobs and improving equipment. State leaders say their focus remains on investing in rural communities like Cott County, and that this is the first step in a long road of recovery. Reporting in Cott County, I'm Ellis Rold.
By the averages, mid-January is our coldest time of the year. We are currently in the heart of meteorological winter with an average high of 48 degrees and an average low of 30 degrees in Knoxville. And it looks like we're actually going to stay that way below those averages through at least next weekend and early next week. Let's get a check of your 7-day forecast here. Chilly air moving in will also mean off and on chances to see either a light wintry mix or potentially a little bit of wintry weather itself as we go through Friday into Saturday and potentially again early next week as well. Also of note, every single morning, except for Saturday morning, there's going to be wind chills down into the single digits and low teens. So it's going to be cold in the afternoon, but especially in the mornings, you may need to be prepared to dress warmly, make sure you're using safe heating sources, keeping your pets inside, and just being smart and safe with the stretch of cold weather that we're about to experience through the weekend and into early next week. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, you can always get the latest with the forecast in the 10 News app. It's free to download in the App Store.